And we're back. Oh wow, the lighting here is horrible. Fun facts. It says that there's one viewer, and that one viewer is me. Because every stream I want to get a little bit more better. So I stalked a handful of other streams last night, and I watched a few today, and like I want to be a part of this community, and I have no idea what I'm doing or what I've gotten myself into. False crafting. And the only reason I'm interested in microphones is because I know that when I'm watching anything on the internet, if the sound quality is really, really horrible, I immediately tune out. When I'm watching stuff on the internet, I'm not always watching it. A lot of times I'm like listening to it and then doing something else. And if it sounds bad, like, why would I listen to that? I'd listen to music or something else. Like so far, when I've creeped on streamers, I haven't seen many introductions yet. Like I catch people while they're doing stuff, which is it reminds me of walking in to a weird house party where like everybody in every room is doing something different and you're allowed to hang out with them, but like they're assigned to be in that room. And so like you walk into the room and you're like, "Yo, what's up?" And they're like other stuff and there's other people in the room and you can talk to I don't know. It's a strange feeling that my brain is trying to relate to like performance world and I don't know if I'm supposed to do that or not. Anyway. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's a good analogy. You're at a party and you can just wander into people's rooms and be like, "What's going on? You doing things?" Um, so it's cool. I got a few ideas, and hopefully, as I like upgrade my situation and my cameras, my mics and stuff, I'll get better at like theming things. So especially once I get the mic and the sound situation like really hammered out, I've got some cool ideas pairing with artists and like talking to them to see if we can stream their album and then like talk about their album while I'm doing stuff because um, yeah, I don't know. I like music a lot, and I think it's a really interesting way to not only listen to people's albums all the way through, because I don't think that many people do that anymore, but I also think it's a really uh, cool way to promote albums and be like, you probably haven't heard this, but maybe you want to. Um, and like cross-platform in terms of like their people, their fans maybe see me and vice versa. Not that I have like a million fans. Basically, it's just musicians doing me favors for now. But yeah, also setting up themes and stuff. Like tonight, we're only telling dirty jokes in the chat, um, or you know, thirsty Thursdays. We set up drinking games. I don't actually want to set up a drinking game and do stripes, but um, anyway, brainstorm themes. That's up to you guys. If you want themes, make some ideas, put them in the chat, which is down there, and we'll make that happen. So I don't really want to be one of those streamers who like always sounds like butt and is super echoey and bad. And I mean, part of the reason why this sounds echoey and weird is because this is basically an empty room. And I can't get over that until I start putting stuff in the room. But I can't put stuff in the room until I finish the stripes, which is what we're doing today. That's my intro spiel. I'm going to start making stripes. Sorry, my outfit doesn't match, but I realized that you guys don't really see my pants. So why should I care about what pants I'm wearing? So here we are. This is where we left off. If you follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram. Okay, yeah, you can see me. We're good. Haha, I'm just staring at the corner. Let's do this. I said that 3 times. We're gonna actually do it now. Where are we? Okay. Um, we finished that section, and that section is dope. Where do we want to go next? I don't really want to think about that too much because I hate thinking about the ceiling. And I want to deal with this zone, I think. So, yeah, let's start there and see what happens. Uh, it's this cat. All right, so that's okay. Okay. Yeah. Yep. My brain has figured out a plan. Let's go, team. I swear, if you eat my yeast, this cat is so. And she left a toy in here last night so that she can play while I stream, and I think that that's adorable. So if you hear bells and stuff, it's just this cat geeking out about her life. I also fed them dinner early tonight, and I'm sure that she's very excited about that as well. 8 millimeters. One of my friends who's actually giving me advice on microphones and things, he was like, "Well, do you plan on doing like all of your stream just staring at a wall?" I'm like, "No, not all of it. Just this project." Um, so why I named my cat this, and I feel like this story will probably be told again in the future because there's very few of you watching, and it's a question that I get a lot. So I got this because I had moved in with my friend from college, and he, I was living in Philly, and I was like staying with friends, which was super awesome. But like, I really wanted to like move out and like actually be in Philly, and and my friend Jeff hit me up, and he was like, "Hey, I'm renting a house, and like, if you need a place to stay, like I'm looking at getting a roommate. Like I've been renting it by myself." And I was like, "Cool, that sounds dope. You're cool, I'm cool, let's be roommates." And he told me, he was like, "Also, when I moved into the house, I told myself that if I was gonna get a cat, like if one of the stray cats like wandered in, I would keep it and like make it my cat and stuff." And he's like, "So I did that. And I named her Philly," which I thought was funny. Um, because he just, I don't know, he named his cat Philly. Anyway, that's a silly name, but sure, Jeff, Philly cat, and Jeff. Um, and and he's like, "Also, I took in this street cat, and she's starting to get really fat, and I don't know if she's getting fat because um, she's finally eating real food, or if other reasons, like she might be pregnant." And I was like, "Okay, this is a thing that we can talk about." And I meet this cat like before I ever move in, because I wanted to see the place, and we wanted to like we hung out a bunch before we decided to be roommates, just so that we could like make sure that if we were going to be roommates, we were going to be like good roommates. And so I don't know if my cat is getting fat because she's finally eating real food, or if she's pregnant. And I meet this cat, and I'm like, "Whoa, Jeff, your cat is hella pregnant." And and he's like, "Well, I was doing some research and I did some math, and basically like when you move in is right around the time the kittens will be born, if my math is right." And I was like, "Cool, well, good to know. Let's just sure, whatever. Um, we'll get to that bridge when we get to it." And that cat was so pregnant. And I move in, and I live there for maybe 5 days before that cat gives birth. And there's like a text message between me and Jeff. It's like, "Thundercats are go." It's a whole thing. I'm trying to think about what I want to do with this blue chunk that you can't see. Um, anyway, so there were 6 kittens, and me and Jeff, who have, I mean, I've had kittens and cats in my life, but like it'd been a long time, and it was such a thing. So like, we gotta become all these cats, and we have to get them fixed and whatever. There were 6 kittens. There's so many, and they were so cute. All 6 of them were super cute. But it was so hard to find homes for them. Thing one, and I toured a lot at the time, and I was like, I mean, I love these kittens, but I don't know if I necessarily want to keep one. And and I was dating a doctor. I say dating loosely. I don't know if you would consider dating, but I say we were dating. Anyway, we're still friends. So I was dating this guy, and he loves cats. And he's like, "Are you gonna keep one?" And I was like, "I don't know. Have not. I don't know." And he was like, "I think you should keep one." Anyway, I have really vivid dreams. So I have this dream, and in the dream, I have a pet otter. And the otter tells me that her name is Other. And for some reason, she got in a lot of fights with my grandma in the dream. And I was like, Other is a dumb name. And she's like, no, it's my name. Other is a name. Stop judging me. This is the otter in the dream. And so me and Other become roommates, and it's a whole thing. And I love Other, and she's the best. And so I text this guy I was dating about Other the otter. He's like, oh, so you're going to keep a kitten and name it Other? And I was like, no, Other is an otter's name, not a cat's name. I don't know what I would name the kitten. And then, so Other Otter sounded nice, and That Cat sounded really good. I really liked the name That Cat, That You Cat specifically. But I didn't want to name my cat that, especially my first one, because I don't know, it sounds really unaffectionate. Like, oh, that's over there. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, that has fleas. You know, whatever. I don't know. Just I like that. That's fine. Like that, it just doesn't sound very affectionate. But this sounds very affectionate. I like this. This is on the counter. This is asleep. I don't know, it just sounds more affectionate. So I thought about it and I was like, I'm gonna name her this cat. And so I did. I named her this cat. And Jeff hated it. Jeff was like, that's a ridiculous cat name. Like, and nobody's ever gonna remember it. Nobody ever, Brenna, judging you. And so uh, and also like it's kind of hard to say from a lot. And I also didn't think she would learn it, but girl learned it immediately, which is another funny story of how I ended up with this specifically. So I ended up naming her Thisabel. That's her full name, Thisabel U Cat, and that's full name is Vadaline U Cat. Yeah. But when I got that, by that point, like this was lonely, and she's still a kid. She's only like a year old, and mostly because like I can't name one of my cats this and then get another cat and be like, oh, that's Rebecca. Like that, people would be mad at me. So that is the saga of this and that. Uh, yeah. Oh, look at all these people. Uh, yeah, I've actually worn stripes every. Okay, yesterday I guess I didn't, but the first time I made stripes, I had these wonderful dazzle leggings that were really cute, but my camera angle isn't wide enough, so nobody saw them. Um, Also, I kept this because, like I said, there were six kittens. We had given one of them away to one of my photographers that I was working with at the time, and his name is Pixel now. Anyway, and so there's five kittens in the house, and then Philly Cat being Philly Cat, which means there were six cats in the house. Anyway, all the kittens were playing in a puddle, and I knew that whichever one I was going to keep, I was going to name this. And so they're all playing, they're wrestling, they're being crazy, doing kitten life stuff, and I'm being lazy on the couch. And I'm like, oh, her brother goes, this and this out of all of her brothers and sisters just looks up and stares straight at me. And I was like, ah, you did it. You're stuck with me forever now. Congratulations. I don't think you knew what you were signing up for. And she didn't, because now she's driven across the country with me twice. She's been on tour with me before. She's lived in so many houses in so many places and just been the bee's knees. She is the best cat in the whole world. I mean, I'm sure all of your cats are cool too, but like this cat, man, she is everything. Like, just, so good. That's also very cool, but that's different. I often think of that, like I love that, but I often think of that as more of that is this is cat. Like when I got that, it was a cat for this, not necessarily that that is my cat. Um, which is also kind of funny because when I first got that, this did not like her. I don't know how to set up donations. Teach me. Teach me. Clydesdale horse? Oh, that's such a good one. Yes. Oh, Heather, you will meet that one day. That does not travel as well, so you might have to come up to Philly. Yeah, this is emotional support cat. Um, and it's because when we first moved into this house, uh, every morning at 4 a.m., this would just run through the house going, that was the sound she made. I'm so sorry for all of you who had to listen to that. But she would wake you up, like, and she would go and sit on you at 4 in the morning and go, and eventually you'd wake up because that sound is thing one, a little terrifying. But also because you're like, what do you need? What are your requirements? Why are you making said sounds? Um, and she would bring you to her food bowl and she'd watch you it like and it wasn't that the food bowl was empty. The food bowl always had food in it. She just wanted somebody to watch her eat every day or day. Um, so it was such a thing. All right, I'll set up donations before my next stream. I'll figure that out. Uh, and I was like, it's like having a baby, and I don't want kids. I'm gonna be totally open with that. Not in to having babies. Um, and it was like having a baby, except babies eventually grow up and they stop yelling at you for food at 4 in the morning. And this will be this forever. Like, and I got pretty okay at ignoring her because all the cat training books say when your cat's being ridiculous at nighttime, just don't give them attention and they'll stop. But the thing is, she would do it for hours. And I was okay at ignoring her, but nobody else in the house was. So she always eventually got the attention she wanted. And I was like, this is unacceptable. I don't like it. Um, and so we got her a cat. Actually, we got three kittens that we were fostering, and we basically just decided that whichever one bonded the best with this was going to be the one that we would keep. And we called them Lock, Shock, and Barrel because they were three black little Halloween kittens. And then we kept the little girl who used to be named Shock, but now she is that. And she doesn't remember her life as Shock. Um, I'm sure if she saw either of her brothers, she'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you in my house? Uh, but yeah, there was brief discussion of keeping all of the kittens because they were very cute, but I don't want four cats. I like cats. I don't think I need four. Yes, you should come up here and visit. We have a guest room. Right now it's filled with all of my stuff from California, but it exists and I could make it not filled with all of my stuff from California. Yes. No, I need to visit. I was planning on visiting you guys this month at some point because I had officially decided to leave Starbucks and all this other stuff. And then when my car broke down and I had to shell out at the end of the day $863 to get the cylinder fixed and then another 207 to fix my car battery, I was like, man, I have no money. Um, well, I mean, I have money. I'm not dying or anything. But like not any extra money. And all of my Halloween gigs were supposed to be my like fluffer income, you know? Like that was supposed to be the money that I had for everything else, and it just didn't happen. Also, there's seven of you guys now. Okay, six, because one of them is me on my phone. And you should all do chat things so that I can get that next badge. And also, I think I need like 4 more followers before I reach our goal. Look, I added a goal banner. I figured that part out. So, yeah. Anyway, friends, come visit us. We have the room, um, and we're nice people, and there's always food in the house, and it's a fun time. And you'll get to see this monstrosity in person, which completely changes your perspective on it. You can send Heather whenever. Oh, I was in California for 2 years. I was in San Diego. And it was fine. It wasn't really my scene. Um, it's very expensive, and I'm not the best hustler when it comes to making money. And I was making money primarily as a performer. Um, and I don't know. I just wanted to make weird art and be with my other weird art friends. But somehow all of my other weird art friends have money. They have money coming in, and I just didn't. So I was just, I never felt like I could catch up. Um, and I had performers in Philly that I was managing, circus performers, a few of them, like 4 or 5, that I was managing that were doing okay, and gigs were coming in, and conference season was going to start, and that was beginning of 2020. I also had a really awesome contortion coach slash friend that I was working with regularly and like learning new skills. So I was getting training in Philly that I wasn't getting in California, as well as work, and uh, and it just seemed like a really good idea. It was like, yeah, and for the first couple of months, I had housing at the circus campus, and it's like, yes, we can do that. And then and also like I've got family on the East Coast. Heather and Bruce are family. My mom's over here. My brother's on this coast. Like none of these people are in Philly, but they're much closer to Philly than California. Uh, and and yeah, so moving back just made sense. But that was the beginning of 2020, and we all know how 2020 went. Badly. The answer is badly. Um, and my life exploded, and I cried a lot, and housing was weird because it was before Austin bought the house, and I was staying with friends, and that had its own challenges, and they're lovely people. I love those friends, but like it completely changed the dynamic of the relationship and like the balance of myself, and I really lost a lot of my independence. And I mean, no matter what, because of the pandemic, there's independence that's lost that you kind of have to mourn, but it was different than that. It was just so much. And quarantine, like the first part of pandemic, because the circus just shut down and I just wasn't working. um it it was weird because you kind of like hold your breath hoping that things are going to come back, and then they didn't at all. Not at least quickly. And then and I wasn't getting the PUA because I was an independent. It was a whole thing. I ended up getting the PUA, which thank fuck, because I don't know what I would have done. Um, but it was a whole thing. 2020 was horrible. I lost a lot of my independence. I lost a lot of myself, and like it's only been recently that I've felt real again. Um, and that was all a rant of, yes, I lived in California for 2 years. I was in San Diego. It was beautiful. The weather was very nice, but it was very expensive. Uh, but thinking back on it, I would probably, like, if I had known, hindsight 2020, how the pandemic was going to play out and the pandemic that was happening, all those things, I probably would have stayed in California. They handled their unemployment situation way easier. My living situation would have been at least more under my control. I don't know if easier is the right word. Um, and when gigs did start coming back, they started coming back in California way before Philly even started thinking about gigs. Um, and a lot of since nobody was performing, the clients that I moved back for, some of them, thing one, moved away, and some of them like weren't working at all, which makes sense. And the ones that were working were just working enough for them. They weren't working enough to pay me, which super respect, good for you. And it was just a whole thing. And at least in California, I would have had a little bit more of my independence and my freedom, which I ended up missing. Yeah, 2020 in Philly was crazy, and unpleasant. But I mean, 2020 everywhere really sucked. So I'm not going to say that, Philly was way worse than the rest of the world, but it wasn't good. I remember when the pandemic first started, a few of my New Orleans friends hit me up and were like, "Hey, New Orleans is really shut down. Could I come stay with you and like figure out my life there?" And I was like, Philly is Philly, Philly. Philly is not much better. You're not. Also, I have nowhere to put you. In the beginning of 2020, I didn't. Now, if somebody hit me up and they were like, "Hey, stuff and things," I'd be like, "We can have a discussion," because I have the space. But man, being a first time like house haver, I didn't know how much I liked like having my own space. I didn't know. I'm such a weird art commune kid. Um, and man, for all those people over the years who've let me like crash with you and stay with you for however long, like, thank you. You guys are my heroes. I hope I didn't completely ruin your vibes because I hella appreciate it. Um, yeah. Uh, and yeah, San Diego's very pretty. No, it's so weird. Uh, it's stuff that I never considered personal space before. Like, since I've lived in so many places and I've had roommates and everywhere that I've lived, I'm always like, I don't know, common spaces can't be considered personal space because it's a common space. And that's true. But like, in a weird way, like you can still have personal space around other people. And that's something that I didn't really learn until the pandemic and how much I valued that. Like, I love parallel play. I I value it so much. If somebody wants to sit over there and play their video game or do their thing while I sit over here and be on my computer and check my email and do my thing, that I want that. I think that's how friendship should go. Um, but I've more recently learned, especially in the pandemic, that like that's not what people want. People are like, if we're hanging out, we're fucking hanging out, and I'm like, that hurts my brain. Part of the reason, shout out to Bruce and Heather, if you guys are still here, I love you guys so much because I don't know, you welcome me into your home so many times, and I love spending time with you and your kids, and it's always so low pressure. Like we can all sit around and everybody's on their own device or everybody's doing their own thing, and it's no expectation. Um, and then like we hang out, we do stuff. It's so good. I I didn't know that that's not how humans functioned because I've spent so much of my life with people like Bruce and Heather who just effortlessly seem to understand that. Um, and I have no idea how like tiny 17-year-old me was so lucky to get you guys in my life and just keep you there. Like I don't know what I did. Past me was so cool. Um, so yeah, that's a thing. Uh, yes, so many hearts. Yeah, like I wish more people had that mindset. And I don't know how you get that mindset. Like I don't know what happens to you in your childhood, or in your developmental stages that's like, hey, you know what you want to do? Just be chill and hang out around people, but not have to like be with, I don't know what happens to you when you're young to make that a thing. But the more people I meet, the more I realize that a lot of people don't grow up in that mindset. That's not a thing that was instilled in them. And I'm like, oh God. And then I end up being coming off as like a shitty friend or not a very good friend. And it's not my intention. I never meant to, but it's just because I am not used I'm not used to, how do I say this without sounding bad? I'm not used to having to make myself give attention to people. Hmm. Um, I don't know. Really? I didn't know that was learned later in life. I mean, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Oh, also, Bruce, am I allowed to talk about like the first time we hung out? Because that's a great story. And if I could tell it, that'd be funny. But if you say nose goes, then I won't say anything. Yes. Okay. So I met Bruce a million years ago. Um, I had a big crush on his friend. I was 17, but nobody knew that because there was a goth club, and and my friends got me in. Like all my friends were older than me, so they were like, "Yeah, just don't drink and don't be stupid and whatever. We can get you in." And I was like, "Okay, cool, that's fine." Anyway, and before that, I had met this one guy at a cookout because all my friends were there, and he was there. And I was like, "Oh, that guy, he's hot." It's not Bruce. Bruce was not the hot guy, but this guy was Bruce's friend. And anyway, so I met this guy at this cookout, and he like was nice to me, but he also refused to make eye contact with me. And then we became friends on MySpace. I realize I talk about MySpace a lot on here. Me and Hot Guy, and he he added me, but he just did not talk to me. And I was like, what did I do? Like, what's wrong with this guy? Um, 8 to 12. Uh, and I thought it was me. I was like, wow, uh, okay. I don't know what I did. And turns out it was me. It was because I was still in high school and he knew that. And he didn't want to message me until he knew that I was like out of high school. And I mean, he was early 20s. So like this isn't a creepy grooming situation. It was completely reasonable. Um, anyway, so I graduated high school. My friends took me to this goth club. He made the assumption that since I was at the goth club, I had to be 18. Whatever. That's a different story. Um, and I go with my friend, specifically my friend Pixie, and she's lovely, and I love her. I've known her for 1.5 years. But Pixie's very emotional, and she was going through this thing with some other dude, and the club opened at 9 or 10, and it was, we'd only been there for maybe 45 minutes, and Pixie's like crying in the bathroom because this dude that she really likes is being dumb or whatever, and I get it, and I don't want to. Looking back, this is probably not Brenna's best friend moment, but I was like, man, Pixie, you're my ride, and I want to stay. Like I'm so excited. There's all these cool lights, the music is good, people are. I mean, it's a goth club, so I'm not gonna say people were dancing, but like some people were dancing, and just there's just it was so new, and I was so excited. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess. Mind you, the next day I had to drive to Philadelphia for a college orientation. That's a thing that was coming up. So I had to be at my home relatively soon the next morning. Like I couldn't stay out super late, hypothetically, because I had to leave at 10 a.m. the next day. Anyway, so Pixie introduced me to these guys. There's this guy, Matt, who is the hot guy, and this guy, Bruce. And Matt was like, I remember you. And I was like, aha, I'm winning. And his best friend was Bruce. And Bruce was just this giant, scary New York guy who's just industrialed out, just so there for it. And but like just this big old lump of New York, but like he was super nice, and he knew that I was younger, and he was just like, whatever happens, like I got you, just whatever. And so anyway, Pixie introduces me to these guys, and she's like, can you make sure Brenna gets home safe? And Bruce was like, I got you, 100%. Like, we are good. And he straight up looks at me and he was just like, if you get in trouble or whatever, like hit me. I'm your contact person. I will give you a ride home. And I was like, okay, stranger, this is fine. And anyway, so me and Matt ended up hanging out because I was super in like at him. And I was very excited that him and his friend were going to get me home. And I was, whatever. Anyway, so we do goth club stuff. And the night's going on, and it's like midnight or 1. And also Bruce and Matt knew everybody. Like anybody who looked fantastic or interesting or was like dressed to the nines, Bruce and Matt knew, and they were friends. So I was just like, the cool kids. I'm with the cool kids. And I was just way too awkward to voice it into words, but I was just super doughy-eyed at these beautiful goths that seemed to not hate me, or even give me the time of day, because I was not a cool kid in high school. Like I was fine. I'm not saying that I was unpopular or anything, but like nobody cared. I was whatever. And there were these cool, very attractive humans that were nice to me. Anyway, so the night goes on, and Bruce and Matt know everybody who's everybody, and they look at me, or Bruce looks at me, and he's like, hey, so there's a hot tub at my house, and I was going to have like a hot tub party when after this, and like, you're totally welcome to come, but you don't have to. It's up to you. Either way, I'll get you home, and it'll be safe. And I was like, cool. Sounds like a plan. And again, he completely left it up to me. Like I could go home or I could go to this hot tub party. And I was so excited. And so I was like, I'll go to this hot tub party. I don't know what's going to happen. I am not prepared for a hot tub party. I did not bring a swimsuit to the goth club. I didn't do anything. But like one of the other really nice girls that I met, she said she was going, and like, and everybody was very nice. They were so nice. And so after this club, the club closes. It's 2:30 in the morning, and like also some drunk military dudes were hitting on me, and Bruce and Matt just like stepped in and were like, no, bro, go home, you're drunk. And so that was nice. And anyway, there we are at Bruce's house, and these really beautiful girls are stripping down to their underwear. A few of them had brought bikinis, or just had them in their cars or whatever. And there's this one really tall goth dude, and he's also like, a lot of these people didn't drink. So a lot of people were sober, which I also found fascinating, because I just didn't realize that people hung out sober as adults. And I don't know, some dude ends up like straight up super goth dude, nothing but a jockstrap. I think he called it King Albert or something, and it was a whole moment. And there was 2 hot girls sitting on his lap in strappy underwear, and I was just like, what is my life right now? What is happening? And like, I didn't get in my underwear at first because I was like, I don't know, I don't know what life is. I don't know how to body. What am I doing? And nobody pressured me, and that was cool too. I think I got a really skewed sense of society from hanging out with awesome goth kids, because in the people that I was hanging out with as a super young adult, like it was all about consent and being nice to each other and just having fun and very low pressure. And then when I started going to like actual college parties, um, I don't know, it was a different scene. Anyway, it was a surreal night. There's a bunch, like, I think we fit 12 people in that hot tub. And I think I got into the hot tub in my clothes because at one point, like, we got out of the hot tub and my clothes were soaked. And Bruce let me borrow a giant hoodie and put all my clothes in the dryer. And that was at like 6 in the morning. And then, 9 a.m. rolls around and Bruce wakes up and he's like, I got to get you home. You have to go to this college orientation. And so Bruce and this dude, Matt, take me home. And and Bruce's car got repossessed that morning. So it was so surreal. Like I went from not knowing any of these people to feeling like all of these people were my really good friends and that I could hit them up whenever. And with that in mind, I'm still really good friends with a handful of those people from that night. And I'm so glad I made the decision to look at this strange, giant New York man and be like, yeah, I'll go to a hot tub party. Yeah. So it was a whole thing. Um, that being said, me and Matt did end up dating. For those of you in the stream who don't know, he was my first boyfriend, and it was fine. Uh, he's a good dude. I see the appeal. Um, I understand why I did it, but sometimes I'm like, not my best decision. I have made better ones. But he's a great starter boyfriend for me. I think he's married and has a kid now. He doesn't talk to me anymore. Go figure. Though, uh, super hot goth guy who wore a jockstrap with really beautiful women sitting on him in the hot tub. Me and him still talk. We're still friends. So there's that. I wonder what he would think if he knew that I was talking about him. I don't know. Yes. So that's my origin story of how I met Bruce. And then years later, like, because in college I went back and forth from Virginia to Philly to Scotland to Australia to London to, like, I don't know, New York. I was in a lot of places in college, but I'd always touch back base in Virginia. And Matt was dating somebody new, and I was young and dumb, and I assumed that him and I were still really good friends, even though we weren't dating. And apparently, that's not how exes work. Uh, so I ended up like accidentally pissing off his girlfriend. I don't know. Anyway, we had all ended up at this show together, and Bruce was there. And Bruce introduces me to this very quiet but like really pretty woman that he's with. And he's like, "This is Heather. It's a thing." And I was like, "Okay, hi Heather, I'm Brenna." But it was loud, so we didn't talk at all. But I was like, "Cool, Heather is the woman that makes Bruce very happy. Awesome." And this was, I don't know, maybe 2 years after I met Bruce, 1 year, 2 years, something like that. I guess it was only 1 year because me and Matt I thought we were friends, but we weren't. Anyway, so I meet Heather and I'm like, cool, Heather's cool. And I don't know if she showed me then, it was pretty obvious. Like, I don't know if it was on the internet or something else, but like, she had a kid, her and Bruce were together. I don't know if they were living together yet. Um, I think they moved in together pretty quickly, which cool, dope, that makes sense. Um, Anyway, so I met her and I was like, she seems very nice and she makes Bruce happy. Don't care. Good job. More friends. And then one time I was supposed to go up to Richmond to go to some event. I don't know, something. And I was going to stay at Bruce's house because Bruce was my go-to, still is my go-to. I'm going to Richmond and I would like somewhere to sleep because Bruce is the bee's knees and he's the best. Why would I stay anywhere else? Okay, I do know why I would stay other places, but that's not appropriate to talk about on the internet. Um, anyway, so I'm supposed to stay at Bruce's house for this event that I'm going to, And I'm basically there. I'm like around the corner, and he calls me and he's like, "Hey, family emergency. I've got to go. But Heather's at home, and you're still." And I was like, "Cool. Well, I don't want to like step on any toes. Like, can I still stay with you?" And he was like, "Yeah, no, no, Heather's at home. I'm just giving you a heads up. Like, but it's just gonna be you and Heather. So like, if that makes you uncomfortable, maybe what, figure it out. Just giving you all the information, which I super respect. I love it when my friends give me all of the information because then I have the ability to make educated decisions. Um, anyway, so I was like, well, yeah, sure, that's, but I don't care um, that Heather is the only person who is home. Anyway, so Bruce is off handling a family emergency, and me and Heather just hang out, like, and it was so easy. It wasn't awkward at all. I don't remember what we talked about, but it was just straight, like, she barely knew me, and she just like took me in and was like, yeah, here's some food. We probably went on the internet and looked at hot guys that she knew because again, or hot humans that she knew because I had no game. I did not get game until many, many years later. And Heather was like, "You're silly. Why don't you have game? Stop being so silly." Um, and yeah, and we hung out with her kid and played, and it was, I don't know, it was a really good time. It was very nice. And that's how I met Heather. And now those two people are family. And whenever I bring any of my touring groups through Richmond, if Bruce and Heather are up to it, I make sure that like all of the good humans meet my good family humans because I love them. Look, we made a tiny triangle. What's what that story was for? Wait, who's gonna be there in 2 weeks? Is it Matt? Is Matt gonna come over? Speaking of Matt, like it's gonna sound strange. There's part of me that genuinely believes that Matt doesn't remember me. I mean, I know that he must because we orbited each other's lives for 6 years, but he's done so much in those 6 years. I mean, I've also done a lot, um, but like, I don't know. Sometimes there's people and you care about them, but it's also totally okay to let those people go on and do their own things. Yeah. No, all the see, it's so good. And all of my circus friends love you guys. Like it's it's so impressive how that community has circus people. Bruce and Heather. Everybody is awesome. This is 8. So we're gonna go back to 8. It's also, I think about this oftentimes, like it's super weird how some of the people who end up being the most important people in your life, like you just kind of met them on a whim. I don't think me and Bruce would have really talked if Pixie hadn't gotten upset that night and ran away. Um, like me and Matt may have still talked eventually, but part of the reason that I ended up even dating Matt was because I didn't know how to date or how to socialize or how to do anything, was because like Bruce became my friend and was just super chill about it. He's like, "Yo, Matt likes you. Do with that information whatever you will. Like this is not me trying to convince you or anything, but like, you know, if you're into that, he's a good dude and whatever." And I don't know if I would have given Bruce's, it wouldn't have mattered if Pixie hadn't have gotten mad. Like I wouldn't have taken as much notice. So it's interesting how like little moments like that turn into such big events or people who stick around. Oh, that makes sense. I mean, it makes sense for certain people. Um, if it makes his life partner uncomfortable, then I hope that they're both really satisfied with them. Like that sounds rude, and I don't mean it in a rude way at all. But like if it makes her uncomfortable and they work as a really good team, then I don't want to. I'm not trying to step on any toes. That's not my jam. Live your life, make your evolutions, do your thing. He joined the military, didn't he? At some point? I don't know. Weird. Weird. There was a very brief time when I was in high school, because I went to a conservatory in high school. I don't know, out of the 5 viewers who are here, who knows that. Um, I played flute very well. Anyway, uh, and I did a lot of theater and stuff. But like one of the things that they do, especially in Virginia, is they really try to convince you to join the military, um, because Virginia, and that's what they think is important. And one of the field trips that we took was like to the naval base to visit their band, their like proper band. And I was looking at the program, I was like, this sounds cool. I could do this, but like for the Navy band, and it works different for different branches, you have to re-audition every 6 months, which is pretty standard for a lot of like artists programs, to make sure that you're up to snuff. And if you fail your audition, your you know, trimester audition or whatever it is, you get sent straight to infantry, and it's really hard to re-audition. Or at least that was the rules back then. And I was like, no, no, thank you. So I didn't join the military. Grace, you're almost an adult now. I'm surprised your mom hasn't been like, you're going to turn 18 and then you have to go stay with Bryn and figure out how to be a weirdo. I'd take you. I would take you for a summer. I don't know what you'd learn. Yeah, this is going to be a shared office when it's done, because Austin is a big gamer and he wants his whole game setup. Like he wants monitors and all the things. And he's talked about streaming before. He's just never really done it. Um, and he's so supportive. He's like, you should stream. I don't see why you're not. Like, just do it. It's fine. And I was like, oh, okay. And he has friends who stream, and it's a whole thing. But he wants a designated space because he also like does a lot of the talking to people while he games things, which I never. Even when I was playing MMOs, I was never headset. I was always just through chat. But he is headset, and for the tactical games, it makes really sense to have like a designated sort of quiet space to do that in. So he wants an office instead of playing in the living room, which is a more common space, which makes sense. But he's also a chef, so he works a million hours. And I also straight up told him that like I want a craft room. I want a room where and part of it's a containment thing. Like I craft a lot and my craft supplies get everywhere because when I'm working on something, I do a lot of mixed media and I'm like, oh, I need this, and then I go grab it, and then I need this other thing, and then I go grab it, and then I need like 18 other things, and it's a whole process of a lot of stuff. And then if I don't have a designated craft room, then whatever location I ended up crafting, which right now is a small corner of the living room, just ends up conquered by craft supplies. And it looks really junky. It looks really unorganized, which makes sense because it's, the muse enters your body. And the muse is not an organized, sentient being. So I told him I wanted a craft space, and he was like, okay. So when we got the house, we made sure that it had an office that could be a shared space. So it's going to be like all the monitors are going to be mounted for his video games, and there's going to be a big desk. And then I kind of want it in a way where it can be a big desk, a big long desk so that you could center one station up here, and that can be all the video games and monitors and stuff. But then there's also a big craft table section where you can put out pieces of fabric or set up a sewing machine or whatever. And then we can hook this room up for streaming too once it becomes a thing. Because I want to keep doing this. Like, the stripes are a great entry-level project for me to stream, but it'd be nice to have a designated space that I can like set up cameras and keep them there. Because I'm sure that for a while, my streams are going to be like, well, this is me in the living room. So, yes, those things. Also, for those who don't know, Austin is my primary partner. He owns the house. I don't know if that matters to anybody. I just feel like when you name names, you should name who the names belong to. Do I think that? I don't know. I don't know what I think. I would try to line this up with the blue tape so that, like, when I take this blue tape off, that line looks really, really well measured out. It's not as well measured as I want it to be, but it's okay. It's pretty close, and that's cool. That's a cool thing. Okay, so now we've connected those things, and we're back to here. Because I don't really want to work on that ceiling section yet, but I need to figure out what I'm doing with that loose end. I'm looking at the camera down there to see how it feels. Yeah, well, tell your brother that he's impressive, because that life is such a thing. But I asked him, I'm like, are you happy? And he's like, I'm so happy. And like, he currently works at the Four Seasons, which is an expensive, high-end, fancy restaurant. He likes to work at hotel restaurants because money. But he loves it. And I asked him, like, does this actually make you happy? And he's like, yeah, I'm fucking stoked. And I was like, okay. I'm not gonna yuck your yum. I don't think anybody should yuck anybody's yum. If that's the thing that makes your heart go, yeah, then do it. So I've got a few options here, because now that I've got this like empty thing, you can see at the very top there, I want to connect it to something, because I don't like having loose ends. I like to close up the shapes because they become easier to work in when they're closed up. But it means I have to go into the ceiling. And I said at the beginning of the stream, I didn't want to go on to the ceiling today because the ceiling is annoying. But that's on the ceiling. So I've got to think about it. ADD life. Also, I'm thinking about tagging this stream as an ADD stream or an ADHD stream, because I can choose 5 tags, and I forgot which ones I've chosen, but tape isn't a tag and stripes isn't a tag, because those would straight up be the first 2 tags that I would choose, but they're not options. So anyway, I was thinking about making it an ADD tag. This is appropriate. I have ADD. I have ADHD. I have ADHD. I was diagnosed in 3rd grade, before it was cool. Actually, I was diagnosed when it was hard to get diagnosed. Like, my parents had to take tests, and I was locked in a room with doctors, and there was a bunch of interviews involved, and it was crazy, and I had to go see a counselor. And now apparently you can go to a doctor and be like, I have trouble focusing, and people are like, take the medicine, be gone with you. And you're like, which is cool. I'm glad people are getting help, but it's also kind of like, man, that used to be so much harder. Where was I going with this? I put on lipstick for the stream because otherwise it looks like I have no lips, because my lips are very small. So I'm probably going to mess it up by chewing on this tape. So I'm going to put that down there. I'm gonna deal with that. Where am I gonna put it? So, brain ideas. Let's go. Four Seasons, yeah, it is a landscaping place, but it's also a hotel. Um, yeah, see, that's my. I feel like design and chilled are great. I think I had graphic design in there for a while. Um, I changed them. I played with them a little bit today. If you guys think of tags, that would be good. Um, I put in visual ASMR because I also thought that would work. So, what are we doing? I know what we're doing. Blue tape. I'm still really impressed with my down there banner. It looks really good. It looks really good. That was graphic design. I could have streamed me making that because I didn't tell anybody that I was going to do it. Um, oh, but yeah, Grace, if you want to come, why am I getting new tape? I don't need new tape for this. If you want to come stay at our house for the summer, just let me know. I don't have money to feed you, but if you can get yourself food, you can stay at our house. It will be chill. Or if you want to find a job in Philly, like they're out there. I could get you working at Starbucks in a heartbeat, but you probably don't want to. One day, one day, I'll go on rants about Starbucks and all of the things that are Starbucks. Also, forewarn, if you do stay with me for the summer, I'm not actually that cool. I hang out at home a lot, um, especially now that I have a house life. And like, so it wouldn't be one of those like, let me show you all the things where the cool kids go. I could be like, this is also Philly when you're under 21, if you're at all interested in bars and stuff, is just not worth it because Pennsylvania liquor laws are super strict. So you can't even go into most bars unless you're 21. And at least in Virginia, you can go there. I mean, you can't drink, but like if you wanted to go to Fallout at 18, you could. And I liked that because, like I said, when I was younger, all my friends were older than me. And that kind of sucked because when I would go to Philly, all my older friends would go into the drinking land of bars and they would leave me behind. And I mean, they would check on me. It wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. And then I had to hang out with like 16-year-olds who smelled bad. I'm not about that life. I don't want to hang out with 16-year-olds. I don't want to hang out with anybody who smells bad. So I could connect it there and I feel in that shape. And I don't know if I'm a fan of that shape or yeah, exactly. Yes. No. Cinder on the train. It'll be great. Um, I don't like that shape. I don't want this shape. This is the shape that I would have to fill in. And I'm just not a fan of this rhombus life. I like the triangles. I like triangle life. I like sound wave life. I like that's just like a rhombus. Trapezoid. It's a trapezoid. It's not a rhombus. Sorry. No, it's kind of a rhombus. But that would make that triangle a thing, which is a thing that goes up here into that zone. I don't know. Do you guys care about the rhombus? I'm not going to do the rhombus. It is where it says it should be. What does the other ceiling look like? I like the other ceiling ended up. I definitely want that point to be there. Just so you guys know, whether or not you were here, I'd be having this conversation with myself. Now you just get to hear it. Also, I look very small. It makes my room look way larger than it is. Um, We're gonna step over here. We're gonna drink some water. Also, this is my water cup. It's beautiful and I love it. You can't see it because it's also camouflaged, like the wall. I got it many years ago. Look at all these stripes. Look at all these stripes. They're so good. Anyway, um, ha! Okay, so I've got. Yeah, there's definitely chain store barista drama, and here's why. Starbucks isn't franchised at all. Like there's the big corporate overlord, and then other smaller companies. Here, you don't have to look at the rhombus. Um, so there's a big corporate overlord, and none of it's franchised. It's just a thing, and uh, but they have licensed stores, so if a Target has a Starbucks inside of it, that's a licensed Starbucks store. If a Barnes and Noble has a Starbucks inside of it, that's a licensed Starbucks store. It's not actually owned by the corporate overlord. It's just licensed to use their products and materials in their branding. The same thing goes for Starbucks inside of airports. Basically, if it's not a standalone store, if it's not just like Starbucks drive-through or a Starbucks, it's a licensed store. If it's inside of a grocery store, if it's inside of a Target, if it's inside of a Barnes and Noble, inside of an airport, then it's not part of the corporate hierarchy. So like Starbucks corporate beliefs have a lot of specific things that they like. Like there's a corporate culture that they try to instill dealing with their benefits and like you can get as many free drinks as you like and you have a partner number and like you're a part of that community and like the way that they do their pay scales and stuff like that, their promotional scales, their umbrella of who's the chain of command, all of that's the same for every Starbucks store that's a standalone. But for the licensed stores, they don't have to deal with any of that. So like Target can pay their Starbucks employee whatever they pay any other Target employee, or Barnes and Noble can pay their Starbucks employee whatever. Like even though they're using all the same materials and it's the same like drink builds and stuff. So when it comes to the corporate standard of drinks and or food that you're buying, or I guess not food because it's all prepackaged, but like the drinks that you're buying, it's not probably lower quality than you would get at like a traditional Starbucks store, or at least hypothetically. Um, but it's not the same. Fun fact, Starbucks gives you benefits at 20 hours a week. No, if I work it out on blue tape, that's gonna be so hard. But what I can do, and the reason I work it out on blue tape first is because I have a mass amount of it and I think it's cheaper. I actually haven't done the math, but it is easier to get, even if it's not cheaper. Like I can go to Target and buy 1-inch blue tape. Whereas I can't do that with the black tape. I know specifically where I go to buy the black tape. So I can, oh, go back to your friendship home. Make that shit. See, I keep ruining these camera things for you guys. Here you go. Let's move up. And I can close this one off, which gives you this fun little thing, which from your angle doesn't look as cool as it looks in person, because when you walk underneath of it, it totally opens up, which is nice. So it makes that whole chunk of wall look, I don't know, like it grows into itself. Like that corner can be in or out, and you just don't know. You just don't know. Yeah. Um, so yeah, I think I'm going to close it off that way. Good talk. We figured it out, fam. Yeah, there is a drastic divide between the corporate employees uh, and the licensed ones, and it's so strange because you're not wrong. And part of it's they're not allowed to. I don't know why, but there's a weird almost fear. Um, so my store, which was a very sad excuse for Starbucks. Um, by the way, if you're in Philly, I'm just going to say this publicly. Starbucks is cool. Drink as much Starbucks as you want. I'm not like trying to crap on Starbucks. What I am going to tell you is that the Starbucks on City Line Avenue is disgusting. Don't go there. It's where I worked. And the people who work there are trying their hardest. They're very nice people. I stayed there for as long as I did because my team was just made of such genuine human beings that I really cared about. But like the store itself, gross. Anyway, we were horribly unorganized. And one time we ran out of venti cups. We ran out of stuff all the time, but like we actually ran out of venti cold cups, like the large cold cups. And there was the closest Starbucks was 12 minutes away. And they didn't have any to spare because they ordered what they needed. They didn't order what we needed because that makes sense. Um, and there was another one that was like 20 minutes away. Anyway, there was Starbucks all over the place, but none of them were super close. But there was a Target that has Starbucks in it that's 5 minutes away from that store. And and when I called my manager, because I was the shift lead coming in, I was like, I want venti cold cups because it's summer and this is dumb. Um, and I was like, could I go to Target, go to their, because it's the same size cups, it's the same cups, and ask them for a few sleeves or even a sleeve, because that's better than nothing, of venti cold cups. And she was like snapped. She's like, don't think about that. Don't go to that store. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I have no idea what it's about, but like it goes high up into management and stuff. Like they, even when I first started there, and I would ask people about the differences because I was curious. Like they jump down your throat really fast. They're like, no, we don't even think about licensed stores. They're bad. And you're like, oh, okay, that's cool. Um, so yeah, that's a weird Starbucks thing. Oh, fascinating. Oh, nope, that's part of the M. Sorry. I'm losing my shapes. Yeah, the sound books of coffee makes sense. And I think Barnes& and Noble did a very smart thing by adding cafes to their bookstores. They should add bars too. I think that would also make sense. Also, I love uh oh, huh. One moment. I'm a little bit lost in my shape. Okay. I know the idea that I had, and I still support that idea, but I should just attach that to that. Yeah. I had a different idea that I didn't explain to you guys, but we're not going to do it because it makes me confused. And because I think it's going to mess up future me. And sometimes I like to look out for future me. I'm not the best at looking out for future me, but I try. I do my best. So I've got my phone over here. It has the chat, which is closer than way over there. Okay, we're not going to get this twisted. I need scissor pockets. We're not gonna fall off the ladder and stab ourselves in the back. That's what we're gonna do. Oh, this is awkward. It's fine. Having the scissors here changes everything. I'm so much more aware. Here we go. And now that shape is closed and I don't have to think about it anymore. Ow. Oh, scissors in the back. Not my... Anyway. Huh. No, that's fine. That's a totally fine sentiment. I don't particularly like Starbucks coffee. I have no opinions on them. I think they're very good at marketing and they've got a really great system. And corporate culture wise, they actually have a really good company. Like if you're just looking at their corporate model and what they believe in and some stores that aren't super busy, it's a great company. Completely understand why people work there. I completely understand why people work there for life. Um, that being said, I'm not like a diehard Starbucks fan in terms of their coffee. It's fine. I like caffeine. I like caffeine in most any form. I actually really like shitty diner coffee. I can drink 5 cups of that crap over fried potatoes with the right company. And is it good coffee? No, but it's fudging delicious, kind of in a weird way. So no, coffee with books. However you want to get that in your life, it's fine. Gotta get the X-Acto knife. We're not gonna stab ourselves with it. Bam. So it's really strange. I look at some of the stuff from far away, and there's some of these details that I see from up here, and I'm like, oh, this is bad. I gotta fix it. And then when I look at it over there, I'm like, you don't even know what I'm doing. Yeah, yeah. The diner aesthetics. No, and when I say diner, I mean like even a Waffle House. We don't have Waffle Houses in Philly, but there is something about a Waffle House that I'm just, those employees never judge you. The food is hella cheap. They're open all of the time. It's so good. Do I need to eat at Waffle House every day? No. But like a good Waffle House when you need it. Mm-hmm. It can be the savior. I am in full support. Full support of Waffle House life. Sorry, I'm cleaning up a thing that you guys don't even notice. This is so much more fun talking to you guys and doing this than it is not. That sounded really disingenuous. But I remember striping my California room. Maybe one day I'll post a picture of that in the feed somewhere. I'll figure out how to like have a picture that's like this is what the room in California was because it was the whole room, ceilings and everything, and it was my bedroom. But I remember striping that wall slash room and just it was fine. I really enjoyed. I really needed that meditativeness for myself, but like it was so lonely. I was so lonely. Um, and that's a sentiment for a lot of my time in California. I ended up being not lonely. I ended up making a really good group of friends that I still really cherish and appreciate. And like one of my friends, shout out to Marco, he's not here, but like if he was fucking dope. Like he basically didn't let me be lonely. He was just like, stop. I'll be there. And I was like, why are you such a good being? Especially because I've turned down your advances and It's not a thing because I don't know. I hate that whole like boys and girls can't be friends without sex because I think that that's a lie. Um, I need the other eraser, which is downstairs, and that's a future me problem. Yeah, yeah. Also, I'm still on Tinder because I think Tinder is funny, and because like I don't know, I'm in an open relationship. I can date other people, and dates are fun. But also, whenever I think about actually going on dates, usually I'm like, that sounds like so much effort. And sometimes I'm excited about it, but sometimes I'm not. Anyway, but they send me notifications every once in a while, and a lot of times I'm just like, Tinder, I'm not gonna read that. And sometimes I don't look at my phone for hours because I've put it down and forgotten that it exists. And then I come back and Tinder is just like all of these things happened. And I'm like, I don't, it's too much. Can't open you for another week now. Okay, 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 okay. So we close up that shape. We can get off the ceiling. But maybe I just want to handle the ceiling tonight. So I don't know. Oh, that's strange. What does it look like in a picture? Fine. It looks fine in a picture. Will future me be upset with that? Probably, but it's okay. Uh-huh, 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 uh-huh. Yeah, it's inevitable due to like human nature. I think that, and part of it's a patriarchal thing. I think the divide between men and women, but I also think that part of it's a safety thing. I mean, yeah, we're just gonna handle the ceiling tonight. If I don't, then I'm gonna regret that I put it off. How long have I been doing this? Yeah, I've got time to work on the ceiling. Um, and I think part of it's a societal thing and a patriarchal thing. That's definitely true. But it's also a safety thing. Like, let's face it, a woman meets a man on the internet and her fear is like, oh my God, I might get hurt tonight. Whereas a dude meets a lady from the internet and one of his biggest fears is, well, I hope she's not fat. Um, so that's a thing. That's a real thing. And I think that as long as society, as long as there's the majority of society who still keeps that mindset about power dynamics, then that's just something we're going to have to. But hopefully, just over time, there's going to be more and more people who are okay with stuff and who are chill and not violent and magical and wonderful. And I'm very happy to report that I think that like a lot of people in my circles in my community are like actually dope MFers who care about, I don't know if their fellow man is the right word, but that sort of thing. And the most that I can do, I mean, unless I became like super activist, which I just don't think I have the emotional capacity for um, as an individual. And the most that I can do is like surround myself with those good people and in that positive mindset. Um, and hope that when I meet other people, they're also invested in the coolness and the greatness and the being a good peopleness. Because that's all we can really hope for, right? I just want all of the good humans to to like me. I don't care if they like me, but I do want them to be nice to me because I do think that most people should be nice to most people. Um, all of the time. Just be nice. Just be nice, internet. Which is also a scary thing because now I'm on the internet and the internet is notoriously mean. So far, I've crushed it. Everybody who's shown up to my stream has been super dope. Yeah. No, no, dude. Bruce makes a great point. Back in 1997, it was like, don't get in a car with strangers. Don't meet people on the internet. And now we literally go to the internet to have people come to our house with our personal addresses and get inside their cars. The 90s would be so confused at what we did. They're like, where did you guys get from? Nope, that's not the shape that I want. That's going to be the shape that I want. Is it? Too late now. I've got to move my phone closer. I tried to make this convenient, the chat is closer to me thing, and then I left it on the other side of the room. And then I ran away from my phone. It sounds like how I set up camera angles too. I set up one really nice one, and then somehow my brain is like, let's do something that the camera can't see at all. All right. I'll get back to your chat in just a moment. I gotta think about my life. Not really my life. I've got to think about my moment. This moment. Is that the shape that I want? Yeah. Okay. Gotta get our squisher. You guys should see this crazy back angle that's happening as I do this. Okay, so right here. And then squish that down. And then just gonna make sure that's straight. I'm just gonna hit the corner eventually. Right here. Okay. Get that in there. So I did this really smart thing in the other corner, and I specifically left it open so that I didn't have to deal with corner lines. But it also kind of meant that for this corner, I kind of have to deal with corner lines. Bam. All right, let's move the phone now. And we'll connect that to that. This is the triangle that we made. Woo, because triangles are the best. I love you too, Heather. If you're going to bed, have a good night. Yeah. I made that overlay. I'm really proud of it. I think it looks dope. Yeah. No, society does put weird pressure on compliments. That being said, I tend to be, I don't know, I've gotten accused of flirting a lot of times and it was never my intention. I remember one time I had gotten backstage with this band or whatever. I was helping them out with something, and that's why I was backstage. And then after the show, I do this where I get just excited to be invited to a lot of things. You can see that. And anyway, so it was after the show, and I was just excited to be invited. And due to my ADHD brain, I was like, I'm just gonna talk to people, and I don't want to go home. And it's not because home is bad, but it's because I'm having so much fun and whatever. And so I was talking to this dude about, I don't even know what, music, the scene, life, something. And he tried to play something. He's like, I would love to stay and flirt with you some more, but I've got to go home to my wife and kids. And I was like, sir, I don't even think you're attractive. I was not flirting with you. I just thought we were having a pleasant conversation. And now I feel, I mean, I didn't say that because I was awkward and spineless and I was like, fuck. um, and so I didn't say anything. I was just like, oh, okay, go home. And I don't know, I hear it often actually, where like a lot of my friends are like, you flirt with so many people, and I don't mean to. It is not my intention. Just I'm not always social, but when I am social, apparently I'm very social. And that comes off weird. And because of the way that society perceives things, they're like, oh, you've got a pretty girl who's social, so she must be flirting with you. She wants something from you. And I'm like, no, I just kind of want to hang out. Can't we just share the same space? No. All right, I'll go home. I'll go home and hang out in my house. Yeah. I said I was going to move that phone closer, and then I didn't do it. I keep thinking that when I move the phone, the camera is going to change, because that's how my other camera is. But it doesn't. But yeah, no, people, I don't know, people are so weird about what defines flirting. I'm about to make the strangest camera angle, but I think so that you guys can see what I'm doing, the best way to do that is from here. Sorry if you're horribly motion sick. I should put that as a warning in my streams. If you get motion sickness, especially while I'm working on this Stripe project, this is probably not the stream for you. Because now I'm up here, but like it's the best way to see the shape. It's fine. We're all fine. We're having a fun time. It's fun. We're having fun. And then for this next part, I think I want to actually start at 12. I'll trim that in the future. Yeah. No, let's do that one at 2. How's the inside of my nose? What do you guys think about it? Yeah, I bet VR would make this way fun. Sorry it's being glitchy. I don't know what that's about. Um, Actually, I bet watching this in VR would be crazy. Is the stream gonna die? Did my internet give out? All of my stats look okay. Maybe it's just a glitch in the system. I don't know. Cool. As long as the reports are positive, then we're fine. All right, we're at the fudge and pencil. I get places, and I set everything up, and I think I'm in a good spot, and then I'm not. All right, here we go. So that's a weird whoosh space. That means I kind of want it to be open here. So 8, 42, 52, 74. What's this one? Is this 4? Oh, that's 8. So that's 8. That means this is 4. So I can't start at 4, but I can start at 8 and it won't argue with that shape. And then those two triangles can be friends. And that's probably 12 and 16 because that's how. No, it's not. Does it go 8, 16, 30? All right, passing made some decisions. Okay, here we go. There's scissors and knives all over my stool. By stool, I mean ladder. Okay, so 8. Tell your friends. Follow me on Instagram and or here. And one day I'll get a subscribe button. I don't know why I want that, but I do want that. So things that I want. Also, I figured out an extension where I can like give my streamers brownie points. It's like the more you show up, the more brownie points you get. The Bryn bucks. They have a name for it that I don't know, but I'll learn it. And I was thinking about setting that up too. So I think before next stream, each one of these is going to get better. That's what I'm saying. And I appreciate everybody who's shown up so far. So just keep coming back. At least it's on a flat surface. We're probably going to put these. No, what was that? Was that? Oh, it's just that knife. I was like, is that the pencil? I need the pencil. Hey, come on. Gosh darn it. Maybe I shouldn't burp at the camera. I don't know why I wanted to do that, but it did. I thought that was the thing that I was supposed to do. Channel points. Yeah. Yeah, the goal is 40 followers now. At least it's what it told me when I made that button. So, because I also thought it was 50 followers, but another one of those things I need is, I think, 5 people chatting at the same time. But I may have gotten that today. I will find out later. So that was 12. Go back. Oh, that was 8. Good catch. Me. Oh, I'm going to deal with the corner. Oh, this will be fun. Okay, I know how the shape is going to go. Oh, wow. Whoop. Wow. Twitch is going to ban me before I ever get big for just like, I don't know, bending in dumb ways. Why did you get banned from Twitch? I don't know. They didn't like my camera angles. They thought they were too provocative. I didn't mean for it. Yeah, go do your stream. Do your things. Thanks for showing up. You've shown up to so many of these. So like I super appreciate it. I'll be back. This striping project is not gonna end anytime soon. It's gonna take so long. So if you're here specifically for stripe content, then congratulations. There's a heck of a lot of stripes. Also, now that I've done this to this room, part of me wants to do not the same, but like a similar stripy thing in the guest room on one of the walls. I don't know how Austin feels about that. Anyway, back to scissors in the back. That's fine. I can. And then I ruined my tape. Everything is breaking. That weird rocking movement is me stabbing myself with scissors. That's me. I really need a utility belt. That's what I really need. Because a smock would get in the way. Funny story, if you put a juggler in a smock, they take it off because it gets in the way of juggling. And I feel like this would be similar. In terms of like how the body would react. And yeah, it's tape. People always ask me if I'm going to paint it, like when I'm going to paint the other parts. And the answer is I'm not. Eventually the corners will peel up. And I might seal them down with like Mod Podge or something. And that'll like help the longevity. But the corners will peel up, just like wallpaper. And when that starts happening, I might paint a contrasting color and then peel them up so that like at least when they come off, it's off of my decision, not out of the universe forcing me to. But the thing with paint is it's really hard to get crisp edges on your lines, and I love that, Tish. I love me a crisp edge, and I can move this around and be more exact with exactly how it fits. If I wanted to, I can unpeel it and repeel it and wiggle it a little bit. I've got a little bit more flexibility. Whereas especially with black paint, man, once you put black paint down, congratulations. You've got a spot to deal with. It's like black tattooing. It gets in there. And I think part of it deals with the size of the color molecules. Fun fact, blue color molecules are very big. I imagine that painting over the blue in this room, when that becomes a thing that happens, is going to be such a bitch. I did not tell Austin that before I painted this color. He doesn't need to know. He doesn't watch these streams. Getting into corners is not my favorite thing, but it looks cool when it's done. We're just gonna... Tape graveyard, I guess you're down here now, because I'm not near that wall. No. That's dead to me. You're not, though. You have a bright future. Also, I guess Kevin already left. I was going to be like, what are you streaming? feel like it's a thing that I should ask people. I'm thinking about streaming Tetris, having Tetris Tuesdays. So instead of doing stripes, I Tetris because I fucking love Tetris. So give me your thoughts on Tetris Tuesday. But the other thing is I have like class and stuff on Tuesdays, and I don't know if mentally I'll be up for it. Also, I have a bad habit of starting really strong on things and then fading out. So I don't want to establish a very definite Tetris Tuesday and then do it twice and then be like, actually, never Tetris. So who knows? Also, that requires me to figure out how to stream it from the Xbox, which I haven't quite figured out yet. Oh, that's a really nice stretch. Okay. 8. I bet that sounds ridiculous. Me just gutturally chanting the number 8. So I love Tetris 99, but I don't have a Switch. I would probably stream Tetris Effect. Also, streaming on Twitch is not Twitch, Switch is kind of hard because you need a converter box. You can't stream directly from Switch. Nintendo doesn't like it or something. Somebody once explained these things to me because I was like, maybe I could get a Switch and do Switch things. So I like Animal Crossing too. And I think that'd be fun. But I need a capture card. That's what I need. And so again, that's an investment of like, I need a Switch and a capture card and. So, c'est la vie. But I do have access to an Xbox and Tetris Effect, which is fascinating in VR. I've done it once and I loved it. Very addictive. But I still think it'd be cool to stream as is. Also, I found a few streams of people who do Tetris 99 last night, and I was like, I could be one of you. I could be part of this community. Because honestly, when because people talk to me about streaming for a while, like since 2016 or something. I think some people first were like, why don't you stream stuff? And I'm like, I don't know how any of that works. I think that's actually, no, 2017, I think, is when I first started trying to stream. It's not great. But I did briefly attempt to stream in 2017. As I saying, oh, yeah, Tetris. That would be fun. Tetris Effect. That's what I would stream. Because what I really want to do is I want to ace all of the levels on hard mode. But if I was streaming it, I could start on medium mode, play through it that way, and then be like, all right, fam, we're doing it. But that whole project would probably take a while because it gets hard. Yeah, the good ones, the good capture cards are expensive. I've heard this. I used to work at an escape room / virtual reality arcade in San Diego, and we would have Smash Brothers tournaments once a week, and we would stream those. I don't think we streamed them very well because nobody really knew how to brand. Nobody was very good at branding, and they didn't ask me. And if you're not going to ask me to brand for you, then I won't. I could have made them look so cool. Anyway, different story. But they had capture cards, and it usually worked pretty well. But I remember the first couple of times they tried to stream those Smash Brothers tournaments, it just did not work because Switch was like, no. And I respect it. Nintendo, live your life. If you don't, and also I really like their statement of like friendly gaming. They don't consider themselves really part of esports. Is this where you're gonna? I don't want you to. It's fine. It's fudging fine. I hate corners. They never do exactly what you want them to. And is it close enough? Will I be okay with it? Will it bother me in my sleep? Sometimes it does. There's a few stripes in the other wall where I would take pictures and I post it on Instagram, and then I would take a step back and like look at the pictures on Instagram, and I was like, oh wow, that line, I do not like how it turned out. That stripe, bad stripe, bad stripe. I gotta go fix it. And then the next time I would go stripe, I would change that up, just like I did with the sound wave. I lose sleep over these things. All right, bye Kevin. Have a good stream. Thank you. Thank you for joining and being part of the thing, and also sound checking for me, because I appreciate it. Also, I was tuning into people's streams last night, and today, but mostly last night. And like people would be like, oh, Bizarre Brian is here. And that bothers me because my name isn't Brian, it's Bryn. Nobody can read. I'm sorry there's a Y in it, but I'm not sorry because the Y is what makes it. It's Bryn. Like Lynn. Lynn has a Y in it. Nobody says line or lion. Fucking dumb. Sorry. End rant. Which almost, so like, I don't use Bizarre Bryn. I use Bizarre Bryn for like my performance stuff and my alien contortion stuff. And I fudged that up, so I'm gonna have to fix it. But usually for my graphic design things, I use my Neon Rain brand. And so originally Twitch was actually under my Neon Rain brand, and I was like, this is just how I'm gonna do it. But then when I was reading, they're like, no, you really should streamline your names so that like they can find you on Instagram and other social media platforms. And most of my social media platforms are Bizarre Bryn because I want gigs, and that's how you get them. You know, like as a graphic designer, it's different. It's not the same. As a visual artist, it's not the same thing. It's not. I don't want to say it's not as important, but it's different. It's just different. Different worlds. Anyway, so I made my Twitch name Bizarre Bryn instead of Neon Rain because that's what Twitch told me to do. But if nobody can say Bryn and people just call me Brian, I may just go back to Neon Rain because I don't want to be Brian. I mean, Brian's a fine name, but it's not my name. It's not my name. Why are you adding letters? Yeah, you can see this part. Okay, cool. That's it. That's all I want. Yeah. Line is a fine middle name. Oh, it's spelled L-I-N-E. Oh, see, that is challenging. I see why people will mess up on her middle name because in English that spells line. I was watching a show on Netflix somewhat recently, and it's Swedish, Norwegian, something like that. Anyway, one of the main characters, her name is Liva, but it's spelled life. And I watch everything, or not everything, but a lot of things with closed captions on, just because I don't know. Especially when people are yelling at each other. I don't know what they're saying, and I want to know because I think it helps with the plot line. It means that I'm invested in your programming if I watch with closed captioning on. But when you read it, and especially if you read it faster than when they say it, I'm like, aha, Life. Her name is Life. And apparently that's just a name. That's a name she can have in Sweden or Iceland or wherever she is. And then I gotta go back up there. The reason we're trimming now is if I don't, I'll get lost and then I'll forget what I'm supposed to be trimming. Yeah. I mean, I kind of get why they mess up Bryn. They read it really fast. Bryn, your brain automatically goes Brian. It just bothers me. Especially in a chat when like I can't talk to them with words. You can't sound it out for them. Because I don't want to be that dick in the chat who's just like, it's not Brian, it's Bryn. Especially when they're streamers that I don't know these people. I'm not trying to interrupt their vibes just because they mispronounced my name. But then maybe it makes me think that maybe my name should be more pronounceable. What mostly bothers me though is when I am performing, especially in like a 10-in-1 show where there's an MC and they have not asked me how to pronounce my name. And then they just go on stage and say whatever they want or whatever they think it is. And that bothers me. Like, you're an MC. Take the 2 minutes before the show to be like, hey, I'm not familiar with the spelling. How do you say that? It's just not that hard. It's not. Also, especially when some performers have crazy names. Why is that? Oh, my knife is dull again. I've got to break that. But I'm all the way up here and the other knife is on the floor. Brenna's fine. I don't mind if people call me Brenna. I just think the bizarre Brenna sounds weird. And people mispronounce that too. I haven't ran into it on Twitch specifically, but in high school, I legitimately had a substitute teacher who thought it was a typo, and they thought it was Brian with the A in the wrong place. And I corrected her. I'm just gonna get the other knife. I corrected her a handful of times as a substitute teacher back in high school, and then I gave up. Which, looking back, I shouldn't have, but I was young and tired and defeated, and so eventually I just started responding. I was like, "Sure, Brian, that's me." And then she has the balls to look at me and be like, "Brian's a boy's name. Is Brian in class today?" And I was like, "I'm not. I'm not with you." But no, Brenna's fine. People can call me Brenna. People always ask me which I prefer. And the answer is I don't. They're both fine names. And then their follow-up question is usually like, well, what do your parents call you? And that's funny because my dad calls me Bryn and my mom calls me Brenna. And I love both of my parents. They're both great people. So, in person, Brenna, Bryn, whatever. Somebody recently apologized because they called me Bryn, like it just came out of their mouth, and I'm like, why are you sorry? I don't care. So that was 8, so we're gonna go to 12. That's the weird part to me. It's like, you don't have to be sorry. Oh, unless I want to grow faster. 8:12. I could do 8:16. 8:16:32. Yes, that is what I want. Oh, see, she's opposite of me. You have a friend named Brenna, but she likes to go by B. I actually hate it. That is my pet peeve. You can call me Bryn. You can call me Brenna. Um, you can call me Rain if you want to go by my middle name because Brenna just ends up too complicated for you. But do not call me Bee unless it's like busy bee, like the insect, and then you have to put busy in front of it. Um, uh, I think that for me, it just feels really disrespectful because everybody who's tried to call me B as a name has been somebody that either A, I didn't like, or B, it feels like they're just choosing to not learn how to pronounce my name. Or when they call me Bree, like Bre, I'm like, Bree is not even short for Brenna or Bryn. Like that's a sound that is not in my name. So whenever people call me B, my brain immediately goes, they don't respect you. And now you hate them. Which is probably mean. I shouldn't think that way. Um, but yeah, it just, to me, everybody who's called me B has been somebody who's just not attempted to know me or put any effort into learning how my name is pronounced. And it's also why when I meet people with names that I'm not immediately sure, or like even if I am pretty, I ask people how they pronounce their name or what they want to go by because I'm not trying to mess it up. You have this name, and I don't know if you chose your name or if your parents chose your name, but either way, somebody put thought into that, and that is part of your identity, and I respect that for you. So like, help me be able to respect you, you know? Spelling, I'm horrible at spelling. That's a different story. Like, I'm less mad when people misspell my name. I try to correct them because, especially if it's on like a document or whatever, but like, if you misspell my name, I don't really, I usually think it's kind of cute. Like, I have family members um, who still can't spell my name correctly, and they have known me since I was born. My favorite was Brinnah. Brina. I thought that was funny and cute, but like at least you're trying. And also, I'm a horrible speller, so like I try to spell people's names correctly, but like I can't always promise that that's gonna happen. Especially if I can't immediately spell check it. Mm-hmm. I have gotten Brian. I get Brian often. Um, and what is it? Certain phones sometimes will call me Brian. Just straight up Brian. And I think that it's funny. I mean, I don't want to be called it regularly, but like if it happens, I'll giggle and correct you. In person, again, this whole Twitch life thing, it's strange. I have gotten B Rain because my middle name is Rain, and B Rain sounds like brain, and that's entertaining. So there was a brief period of time where people called me Brain. Uh, Partially funny because I'm not like exceedingly intelligent. Like some people you meet them and you're like, wow, that person is crazy smart. That's not me. I'm not saying that I'm dumb. I'm smart enough. But if we're being honest, I'm not that person you meet and you're like, wow, crazy intelligent. So I thought it was funny when people called me Brain. Because you would think that the person they call Brain is like very, very smart. Instead of some weird girl who likes stripes who's just smart enough. Also, once we finish the ceiling section today, then I don't have to deal with the ceiling pretty much again until I do the light. And the light is super easy because I can take that off. Yeah. Yep, yep, yep. Oh, I can't move that light. That's fine. Okay. Skizzers. And we're back. But I don't know what's happening. It also reminds me that when I painted this room, I definitely got blue paint on the ceiling, and I've got to do all those touch-ups. I also have to, I don't know if I want to stream any of this remodeling stuff because it's way less interesting than stripes. I've got to wipe down all of the baseboards with TSP and repaint those too. And the radiator, I have to get that super clean and painted so that before we put furniture in here. It's just harder to do those things when there's furniture in it. So I don't know, you guys, is that a thing that Twitch allows you to stream? Just home maintenance? I guess. I mean, I guess it's part of makers and crafting, which is what I put this. I didn't realize that was a category until yesterday. And then when I found it, I was like, why am I under art? This is definitely a makers and, I mean, I don't know, it's definitely, but it's in my brain very much a makers and crafting thing, not a, I mean, it is art, but it's a crafty art. I don't know. I feel like this category is going to get me more hits than vision. I don't know. I don't know, actually. I'm talking straight out of my butt. Eh. Ruler. Pencil. And where are we at? 16. Get that one and that one. Cool. We're just going to move to here next. I don't like it on this arm because then it'll bounce against the wall and then it'll leave weird black little scuff marks all over the wall. And we don't want that. So we're just not going to play that game. Yeah. Cool. And then we make more stripes. I feel like I ran out of stories to tell. Oh. It's okay. Sorry, I'm looking at what I've done and thinking about those things. I wonder if anybody clicks onto this channel right now to see this specific camera angle, how they would feel about that. Like, there's no disclaimer as to like what's going on other than makers and crafting. Like, I'm on the ceiling, like I'm upside down in the frame, the lighting is mediocre, there's black stripes everywhere. Oh my God, I have so many vivid dreams. Recently, And I meant to text him. So usually when I have weird dreams about people, I text them and I'm like, hey, you showed up in my dream last night. And I don't know, I I don't know if I believe that it means anything. Like I don't know if there's like a deeper meaning into dreams. Um, but I do kind of see it as a way of my brain, especially when people show up in my dreams, um, to reach out to those people. Like, you know, your brain saying, hey, this person, you should say something. And you're like, all right, cool, brain, I'll do that. Um, so recently, I manage one of the jugglers, and I don't know if I manage him anymore. I consult him pretty regularly. His name is David Darwin. He is very talented. He is very tall. Anyway, he's David Darwin. He's a juggler, slash fire eater, slash all around stage performer. He goes by One Man Sideshow. Um, he shows up. We had to do like we were working together in the dream, and by the end of the dream, him and I had to get glamour shots, like in the mall glamour shots. But it was so that we could be on a game show, which makes no sense because I think when I know a bunch of photographers, I used to model professionally, um, so I don't, and makeup artists, and like we were gonna pay for it. Like it wasn't like you can't just get free glamour shots. They cost money. So why would I go to glamour shots, like the company glamour shots, to get professional photos done? If I had that kind of money, I would rather give that money to one of my artist friends than to glamour shots specifically. Anyway, so me and Dave Darwin had to get glamour shots together. But usually when a couple, especially a man and a woman, go to get glamour shots, they're for romantic reasons. Like you're supposed to look like a couple, and there's certain poses that you do to look like a couple. But like me and Dave aren't at all a couple, and even in the dream, like we had to keep changing the photographer's poses because he kept trying to pose us like we're a couple, and we're like, think of this like siblings, pretend we're related. Um, and then in the dream, my brother shows up because we were yelling at this photographer about like how siblings should get it pose us like siblings. Um, and so my adult brother, because he's older than me, like it's a bunch of adults in this dream, is like, yeah, like we should also get glamour shots, but just for memento's sake, like family portraits, which is also funny because me and my brother have not been in a proper like staged photo setting since we were toddlers. Um, we've had photos together, but not like professionally done. So I thought it was funny that he shows up in the dream. He's just like, we got to get our family portraits taken. And the photographer was so confused. They just didn't know what to do with these three grown adults who wanted to pose in completely non-romantic ways. And how to pose that and not look completely ridiculous. Which makes me think that I would love to get really ridiculous family photos with my adult brother, like done professionally, but posed like we're toddlers, because I think that's funny. So that was a recent one. I have a lot of dreams where I'm on a mission, like I am solving a problem, which makes it hard to wake up sometimes because I don't want to wake up until like I've solved the problem that is going on in dreamland, because if I don't solve it, then like something's gonna go wrong. Which makes no sense because usually me oversleeping causes way more problems than me not solving dreamland problems. I one time was late for work because I had a dream about a cassowary. If you don't know what a cassowary is, look it up. There are these giant dinosaur birds. I think they're only in Australia, like naturally. Um, they're in zoos and stuff other places, and they might be in other places in the world. I don't know. I don't have that much information on cassowaries other than they're huge and dinosaur looking, and they're angry. I mean, I guess they're not all angry, but they seem like they would be. I guess you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. They've got giant talons, like 3-foot talons that can just rip you to shreds. It's all muscle. And these like blue crowns, they're crazy. Anyway, one time I had a dream about a cassowary, and like the cassowary, again, crazy dream logic, fell in love with me. And I knew that the cassowary was in love with me. And it didn't speak or anything. Like, it's not like Other the otter, who had a full vocabulary and was basically a roommate more than a pet. This cassowary didn't have words or anything, but it was in love at me. And and I had to deal with that. And then when I had to like break it to the cassowary, that I was like, this is not a thing. You can't, this just ain't gonna work. Like there's no world where this is okay for any reason. Partly because you're a giant, terrifying bird. Actually, entirely because you're a giant, terrifying bird and I'm a human. And maybe if I was also a giant, terrifying bird, this could work out. But again, he's it. I don't know if it was a girl or a boy. Doesn't matter. Was just squawking at me in bird language, and it got very angry, and so I had to fight it. But I didn't want to fight it because, like, I don't know, I'm an animal lover, and I didn't mean for it to fall in love with me. Like, it just happened. And so, like, I had to fight it because I didn't want to die, because they can kill you. But I didn't want to hurt it because that's rude. You don't just hurt things because they're angry or you're angry. And I wasn't angry, I was just scared. But anyway, I was late for work because I was basically in a fight with a cassowary. And I literally woke up 45 minutes later than I was supposed to, which meant that I was 45 minutes late for work. And I had to text my boss before I got there. I was like, hey, I'm running late. It's a thing. And I don't know if it's the smartest idea that I had, but I literally texted him and was like, I'm late, had to deal with the dream cassowary. I'm so sorry. I'll be there as soon as I can. And I knew that it was a great job because he did not care. He was like, oh, okay, get here soon. The only thing he asked me was when I got to work, he asked, he was like, what's a cassowary? And then I pulled it up on Google and was like, this is a cassowary. And he's like, I'm not going to ask why that thing showed up in your dreams. And I was like, I don't know. But it did. And now I'm late. Oh no. Like, are the nightmares ridiculous because they're just so intense, or are they ridiculous because it's just silly things that you're scared of? Because that's happened to me. I've had some dreams where in the dream it's very, very scary. And then when I go back to explain it to myself or to somebody else, I'm like, dude, I'm so freaked out because this crazy dream that I had that was so scary. And then I explain it and I'm like, none of these situations are actually scary. I don't know why my brain is creating all this fear chemical about the clown vampires. True dream that I had. Because that sounds ridiculous. And in real life, if clown vampires showed up, I don't think I'd be that scared. So, yeah, are they ridiculous because the concepts are ridiculous, or are they legitimately actually frightening? And it's ridiculous because you have so many nightmares, because nightmares suck. Not a fan. It's not fun to wake up and your body just like pumping unpleasant chemicals through your system that you then have to cope with as a conscious being. I think that's the worst part is that, like, especially when you have a nightmare and you wake up from said nightmare, it's your brain's creating this fear chemical to deal with something that's happening in your sleep. Um, which makes sense because your brain believes it's in that situation. It's going to make whatever chemical it needs to make in said situation. But then you have to handle that when you're awake. Like, you have to consciously, quite literally consciously cope with those feelings and those emotions and deal with them and sit with them, whatever they are, whether it's fear or grief or sadness. And that's, I don't know, annoying. What do you mean I have to deal with the chemical for a thing that didn't even actually happen? That's what I say. But it happens. No judgment. Also, if you wake me up while I'm sleeping and I'm like actually asleep, I scream just like straight up. And not even like a girly, like a guttural scream. I'm not going to do it because I wouldn't want to hear somebody scream on a stream. But it's a thing. And I don't know, I guess it's my body's defense mechanism. It's like somebody's waking up while you're sleeping, you've got no control over this. If you make a really loud sound, maybe it'll scare them and then you won't be in danger. Yeah, no, that sucks. Um, it really sucks to have to deal with scaring things. Like, nightmares are the worst. Inhaled dust. um, no, that sucks. I'm sorry you deal with that. Dust in my throat. 1632. That's our next measurement. Yeah. People often tell me that like they've grown, like they don't dream anymore. They don't ever have dreams. And I once had a psychiatrist tell me, like, I was telling them about my crazy dreams, and they were like, "You haven't grown out of dreaming yet." And apparently that's, I mean, he was a very mediocre psychiatrist. Dare I say, shitty. Uh, but anyway, that's when I realized that there's, and maybe it's not so much anymore because that was a few years ago, but like there's a belief that people grow out of dreams, like grow out of having dreams. I'm not saying like dreams isn't like what you want to be when you grow up. I'm saying like dreams is in the things that your brain creates when you sleep. And I've talked to more and more people, and more people are like, "Yeah, I don't dream anymore." That seems crazy to me. I also know some people who have dreams, but they don't remember them like at all. Um, and they'll tell me, they're like, "Yeah, I dreamed last night, but I don't know what it's about." And I'm like, "Oh, that's sad." And not that I remember all my dreams, and sometimes I forget about. Usually, I forget about most of them, but I know that I have them every day. I mean, maybe not every day, but like 87% of days, I have dreams. Nights, I guess. I guess it'd be nights. You know what I mean. Ruler life. Here we are. And we're back. So what's funny about this current chunk that I'm in is I'm in the corner Or I still have to line out these lines, and my brain thinks that it is straight, but it is not straight. It is not perpendicular whatsoever. So it's hard. What I'm saying is it's challenging. And we're currently playing on challenge mode, everybody. What if I tag this as challenge mode? I don't think I should do that. But what if? Yeah, no, I've dated a lot of people who tell me that they don't dream anymore. Um, and I think that's weird. And because like that's one of my topics of conversation. Like when I'm talking to people, especially if we have spent the night together, and we're making coffee or whatever, my brain is like, "What did you dream about?" And then when they don't know, I'm like, "Ah." Or I like, especially people that I know who don't dream. Like Austin doesn't really dream. Um, but one of the first things we talk about in the morning is like, "What did I dream about?" That's a go-to. I feel like it's a better conversation than how was your day at work? Especially if you've got a job that you don't love. Like, how was your day at work? Well, the same. That being said, I use that question often for people that I know who have jobs just because I'm like, I feel like how was your day at work is a more approachable question than like, how are you feeling? Because I don't want to talk about my feelings most of the time. I don't expect you to want to talk about your feelings most of the time. Um, Not that I don't want to listen, like I care about your feelings. But if anybody has as hard of a time discussing their feelings as I do, I'm not trying to put that pressure on them to make them uncomfortable. What is a shared dream? Have I ever had a shared dream? A shared dream is in like me and another person have the same dream on the same night? 'Cause no, I don't even know what that is. It sounds very trippy. Uh, okay, I was like, I marked all of that. Where am I even going? And then I remembered. Oh, yeah, no, because of the stripes. You forget that I'm in a corner. That's the whole goal. But I'm in a corner. I briefly considered painting the walls a different color than the ceiling because that's usually how it is in rooms, in houses, is your ceiling is a bright white and then your walls are some shade of off-white. But then when I was really like thinking about the stripes and how I wanted the stripes to look, I said no. I want it to actually be entirely the same paint so that my optical illusions could. Sorry, this is what I'm working on. I don't want this to touch itself. I also thought about tagging this as paper craft because I use a paper-based tape, but I'm not doing origami or anything. Come on. Why? Why do you want to be twisted like that? Why? Why do you hate? And I could just stop it. Don't even think about it. I see you trying to curl up. I will look at the chat, answer questions. Just a moment. Just want to get this. If I let go, why? Why are you so twisted? Why do you want it? A shared dream. How do you even, is there a way to make that happen? Can you like, I don't, that's crazy. I mean, cool. I'm not, how though? Like, do you have to hang out a lot? I don't know. I don't know. Is there a formula? Because I know like people say you can train yourself to lucid dream, and most of my dreams are somewhat lucid. They're not like I can't be like I'm gonna go fly now, but there is some lucidity to them. Uh, so for shared dreaming, is there a training regimen that you can do? Be like, hey, buddy, you and me, we're gonna share a dream. Let's like, yeah, that trip was out to get me. And like if you have conversations in the shared dream, can you do both of you remember the conversations in the same way when you wake up? I've got so many questions. My other question is to have shared dreams, do you have to have additional substances to help? If you know what I'm saying. Because I've definitely had shared experiences. Experiences, I'm not saying like they were dreams or anything sort of big, but like shared experiences on certain substances. Yeah, no, for lucid dreaming, I understand. You have complete control of your decisions. And in some of my, especially my problem solving dreams, I would consider those lucid because I can choose, like, if there's an option of doors, I can choose to go in this door or this other door. I can't control the zombies inside those doors. Um, but I can make the conscious decision of, well, I'm not going to go deal with that panther because this room with the sentient tree just makes way more sense or whatever. But like a shared dream, I don't know, I'm still fascinated by that idea. So no, the answer is no. I've never had a shared dream, but I think it'd be cool. The concept sounds fascinating. I'm invested. 32. That looks really wide. It looks like it grows really fast. It doesn't. I mean, that one's 64. Ow. I just hit myself in the face with the ruler. No, it's fine. You're fine. Everything is fine. We're just going to keep going. That's so strange. Weird. Shared dreaming. I'm gonna have to do research on that. Things like that sound super mystical, and I'm not. I don't know if I would say that I'm like a mystic or a mystical person. Maybe I am. There's dust in my mouth. Probably shouldn't make that sound. Um, I don't know though. If I had to share a dream with somebody, especially somebody that I wasn't super close with, I would I would be like, this is more than just my brain says I need to reach out to someone. This is everything is different now, and the universe has sent us a message. This isn't my brain telling me things. This is the universe sending a sign. Which I do believe in that sort of thing-ish. Like, it's a whole other conversation. Also, I read tarot for me. It's just a thing that I do. And on Twitch, apparently, one of the tags is fortune telling. And I think it's nifty. Like, I could be a fortune teller on Twitch. I don't know how I would tell somebody's fortune over the internet. Or would just be telling my fortune every day and streaming it. And then, do you lose authenticity when you do that? Like, is there something disingenuous about streaming fortunes that you're telling? I don't know. 32. I also think that I'm out of the corner now, which makes everything easier for me. Yeah. No, I don't know. I think that reading tarot is similar to most people's belief in religion. It's a guided randomness that you can put meaning into, and as long as you're putting a personal positive spin on said situation, then it's all about your mentality. You can go into any religion or spiritual thing with a negative mentality, and it can be dark or negative or bad. But if you go in with a positive outlook and take guidance that way, then I think that it can be a really positive way to create guidance for yourself that you didn't have otherwise. And some people do that through runes. Some people do that through tarot. I mean, hell, some people do that through the Bible. Not me. I'm not particularly Christian. I'm not Christian. But yeah, so however you want to find that meaning. Oh, they pick. Okay. Interesting. I feel like to genuinely do fortune telling or tarot on Twitch, or to genuinely do fortune telling, I feel like you have to really capture the energy of the person you're telling their fortune, and tap into whatever they're putting out. Like the cards, the situation are feeding off of the person's energy. If you want to think of it that way. If you want to think of it as a fun game, which is also fine, and going in with a positive attitude and that sort of thing, then yeah, that makes sense. Do it on Twitch, pick a random number. I will tell you good things about cards. But I don't think that it means it's reading your fortune. I think that you've been told a really cool story, which is also fine. I'm not trying to shit on that. I don't know. Something that I've thought about. Maybe I could be a Twitch fortune teller. Fortune Fridays. Tetris Tuesdays and Fortune Fridays. They'd all have different bottom things. Oh my God. I said, oh my God, just because I'm thinking of like, if I had this space and everything during quarantine, I probably by this point would have a full channel where my entire week is packed with stuff I do on Twitch. Tetris Tuesdays and Fortune Fridays and art projects galore. Thirsty Thursdays. That'd be a hot tub stream. Wouldn't be. I don't own a hot tub. But yeah, in quarantine, when I wasn't doing anything else, that is exactly what I would invest my time and mental fortitude into. And not quarantine times. I'm just saying, like, if I book a gig and it's a night that I've got a stream scheduled, I'm just gonna do the gig. Sorry, fam. Catch me next time. But in quarantine times, there were no gigs. So I'd be like, this schedule is everything. We are nothing without routine. Okay. We're just going to finish up this triangle and then we're probably going to be done for tonight. Yeah, I guess tarot would be a ton to learn up front. I learned it when I was a kid because my mom read tarot. Like, she raised me very Wiccan. There was a lot of candles and tarot cards and stuff. When she was feeling spiritual. There was other times she was just crazy. I love my mom, but she is not the most mentally stable. Anyway, 32. Technically, I'd go into 64, but I think 64 would be way too big. Yeah, I'm not doing that. That's crazy. But I can do 46. Right here? 42. Yeah, 42. Oh, but yeah, she raised me kind of pagan. So, like, I learned how to read tarot very young. Like, I saw my mom reading tarot for as long as I can remember. And then TMI, she wouldn't teach me anything real. Like, I did candles and, mindfulness and be one with your thoughts and feel your feelings and those sorts of things. Like, that was forever. But like when it came to tarot or spells or anything like that she was doing, even though she did them for as long as I can remember, she wouldn't teach me any of it until I started my period, because that's when you come into your true power, according to my mom. So I learned tarot eventually when I became old and my human suit was ready. Also, weird things that I've thought about. Being one, if we're friends on Facebook, I don't know if we are or not. If we are friends on Facebook, then you probably read this status. If we're not friends on Facebook, then something that I kind of want to do is start a TikTok. I'm not on TikTok at all. Is start a TikTok where I literally just talk about periods. I'm gonna lose my one viewer right now because I think they should be destigmatized. I think that everybody should know about them and know facts about them, and they suck. Anyway, it's a different rant for a different time. What I was saying is, so I've got these friends who are really into runes and they consider themselves spiritual in whatever way, and they're men, and some of them are considered themselves brujos and stuff, and like that's dope, and I'm not trying to disingenuous anybody's spirituality. Like, believe in what you believe in. There's so many metal things down the back of my pants. It seems dangerous. But like they have some of them have such a deep connection with, or they say they've got such a deep connection with time. Like, it's the summer solstice and they have to do this, that, and the other. Or it's the equinox, which means that they feel this way, or whatever. And there's like these big time landmarks for them that they base so much of their spirituality around. And it's like the time of the planet and things like that, which is fascinating and cool. And I like to celebrate the equinoxes and the solstices, and I think that in the full moon, and I think that they're important times to do stuff. But when it comes down to your connection with time, as a human, in my human suit, because I'm an alien wearing a human suit, but like as a person wearing a human suit that has female body parts, that menstruates specifically, I have a deeper connection with time than any man ever could. That's just facts. Because every once in a while, the moon is like, hey, you gotta do something gross now. And your body's like, can't stop us. Let's go. Anyway. Yeah, because I call it moon sickness. Um, Especially on social media platforms, because people flag you for stuff. And I think that's dumb. Especially for one with endometriosis. Like, I don't have endometriosis, but I have some friends who do. And it sucks. And they talk about how much it sucks. And sometimes they're just, being on social media, being human, talking about this thing that currently makes them very upset and frustrated. And then social media flags them like it's inappropriate content. And they're like, how? How? And that's the biggest thing. It's like, how is it inappropriate? And the answer is, I don't know. But apparently it is. And so that's another reason why I haven't started a TikTok to talk about moon sickness. Because I'm too lazy. I'm too lazy. Also, I feel like on TikTok it's getting more curated. At least if I'm streaming it on Twitch, this is, 15 minutes. It's a stream of consciousness. There's no forethought. I'm living my life. But on TikTok, you have to be like, does this look good? Or are people gonna like this? It's gonna be part of my feed. This will always be on my wall. Or whatever, however TikTok works. I don't even know. I don't even know what TikTok looks like. Oh, my brother's texting me. I have to deal with that shortly. Okay. To be fair, my brother might be texting my mom, and I might just be in that chat. We didn't even use a whole roll of tape today, guys. I don't know if I should be proud of myself or if that's a sign that I did not get as much done as I thought I would. So after we trim this, I have to take a step back to look at the big picture. Man. And then we might have one more thing to do before we call it a night. It just depends on what this looks like. Also, I don't play video games or anything, but I do curse a lot, and Twitch is asking me like, "Is this explicit content?" And I don't know what to tell Twitch. Is it? Yeah, people do stigmatize the weirdest things. Anyway, what do you think? Should I tag this as explicit content because I curse a lot, or part of us tag it as family friendly because I think that it is, other than the cursing. So maybe I should stop doing that. Once I get a handle on cursing, then maybe. I can take off that blue piece too. Got an eraser in here. And these little cleanup parts you don't really see. I mean, I guess these bigger ones you do. I was so tired before I started streaming today. Like, I almost regretted saying that I was going to stream because I was like, I'm sleepy. And I'm not sleepy, but I'm way less sleepy, which is nice. I guess somebody told me that it had to be bedtime. I could potentially be okay with that. All right, we're going to take a step back. So, okay. 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 Sometimes when I've got big gaps like that, I want to fill them in. According to my parents, I curse like a sailor. And I've tried to get better, mostly because I do a lot of family-friendly shows, because family-friendly pays more money usually than bar shows. Because let's face it, if you're going to have kids, I mean, you can be poor, but either way, you have to afford children. Okay, so sometimes when I've got an open gap like this, I like to fill it because the openness feels weird to me. But I think because of the size leading up to it, like I've got 42 millimeters here. That would mean that I would have to go to 52, and then inside of that would be closed. And a closed shape can sometimes give it a weird feeling as well. I'm going to sleep on it because I don't know. I do not know. Anyway, I think this is going to be our final product today. We did this part. We followed this line. We closed in that shape. I feel like a weather girl. And over here we have nothingness right now. So Kane's going to grow to be more than nothingness here shortly. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. I'm going to go eat food. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. I will see you next time. Maybe not tomorrow, but almost definitely Tuesday at some point, maybe during the day, because I've got class that night. We'll figure it out. Bye.